Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Den. I'm Daniel. In today's episode, I'm talking about the NBA's adjusted national anthem policy and why it's a model that all pro leagues should follow. The NBA season has resumed for the past couple of weeks now, and as a basketball fan, it's been great to see some sports again given what's going on with the pandemic. But what's also been a welcome sight to see is players being able to kneel during the national anthem, coaches as well. The NBA had a long-standing policy that required players and coaches to stand for the national anthem. But the NBA realized that given the current climate in this country with the civil unrest in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd back in May at the hands of police, that the NBA realized that this is not the time to be digging in your heels with your policy, and that all players have different perspectives, and them having the opportunity to kneel given what's going on with the level of sensitivity in the aftermath of Floyd's murder, players should have that right to exercise their First Amendment and constitutional right to either kneel or stand. The other great thing about this too is the majority of players and coaches from teams have all knelt, but you've also had a few players like Orlando's Jonathan Isaacs, Miami Heat player Myers Leonard opting to stand instead of kneeling. Now, I don't have a problem with these guys choosing to stand. If that's not what they believe in, I can respect that. I didn't necessarily agree with Orlando Magic player Jonathan Isaac's explanation as to why he chose not to kneel, but again, it's his right. We also had coaches and the referee also stand during the national anthem. Greg Popovich and Becky Hammon of the San Antonio Spurs chose to stand during the national anthem, and even one referee chose to stand during the national anthem. All three of those parties realized that they do acknowledge and support Black Lives Matter movement, but they just made a personal choice to stand during the national anthem, but they didn't disparage any other player or coach who opted to kneel. And I don't think Hammond, Popovich, Isaacs, or Leonard should be vilified by them choosing not to kneel. Again, this is what our Constitution is about. This is what First Amendment rights and free speech is about. And this is what I love about the NBA, because players and coaches had the choice to either kneel or to stand during the national anthem. It's not like they're being mandated to do so. And that's what makes the NBA such a progressive and forward-thinking league compared to others, for instance, like the NFL. Whereas in the NFL, as we have seen, if you are a player that kneels to protest police brutality, systemic oppression, and racism, you will lose your career. That's exactly what happened to Colin Kaepernick. And when you are the NFL that has such a plantation mentality where they take the stance of wanting to put players in their place, and it's all about control and them being so dug in on their position and not being receptive to differences of opinion, because it's all about their bottom line and they can care less about systemic oppression and racism, then you see Colin Kaepernick being made an example of. But again, that's why I love what the NBA has done with adjusting their national anthem policy, because they realize that given the civil unrest and climate in this country right now with race relations, it's not the time to make it about yourself like the NFL has done time and time again. You have to sometimes give in and listen to the community, and also listen to your players and your coaches as well, who have been speaking out against systemic oppression and racism. The other thing I'm going to say about the NBA and its adjusted national anthem policy is I like the fact that they allow players to have messages on the back of their jerseys. Now, I don't mind messages, but I feel like actions carry more weight. But given that these NBA players have platforms and that they were able to have messages on the back of their jerseys to speak out against whether it was equality, Black Lives Matter, or education reform, it's great to see as well. That's not something I've seen from the NFL or any other professional leagues across this country, and I doubt that I will ever see anything like that. This is why the NBA is showing why it's light years ahead of in terms of being progressive in its thinking than other professional leagues. The only thing that I did not like with the messages on the back of the jerseys is that the NBA only gave players a certain amount of slogans to choose from a list. I feel like if you really wanted to make it really impactful, don't even make it a list. Just let the players come up with their own slogans, their own messaging, as long as it's not offensive or disparaging to anybody else. But again, overall, I love what the NBA has done adjusting its national anthem policy given what's going on in this country right now. But I want to open it up to you guys out there. What do you think of the NBA's adjusted national anthem policy? Do you like the fact that they have softened their stance given what's going on in this country right now with race relations? Do you also like the fact that they're allowing players to have messages on the back of their jerseys? Or do you not like it? As always, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. We'll do it next time, and I'm out.